bring us home.
Well, thank you, and thank you all for being here today. Secretary Yellen, I want to discuss with you an issue that I've been working on for a number of years. 5 years ago, I brought up the same issue with your predecessor, Secretary Mnuchin, during the same budget hearing. He previously referred to the status quo as untenable during the hearing on talking about access for cannabis banking to the cannabis industry, the banking. The discrepancy between federal and state cannabis laws have created conflict in the department's ability to administer that many areas under its jurisdiction. And as a former prosecutor, I shared his concern about the business having to deal with these huge amounts of cash and not being able to put it in depository institutions for public safety reasons. Can you tell me what is presently this administration's position on safe banking?
I think we would potentially welcome legislation in this area that would clarify for banks what their responsibilities are. At present, my understanding is that there's a conflict between federal law outlawing marijuana sales and many state laws. And while I believe that there's not active prosecutions, banking organizations do feel compelled to be in accord with laws, and the fact that marijuana is outlawed by the federal government creates an impediment to their willingness to provide banking services to cannabis firms, and it creates all the problems that you're familiar with. And so I think legislation may be necessary to raise the comfort level that banks have with doing this business.
Mr. Joyce, will you yield a second?
I
Just a second.
always.
You're very kind. I agree with Mr. Joyce 100%. It is a shame that the Senate has not passed legislation that we passed in the House. We're putting people in a very vulnerable position where they have large amounts of cash. We're encouraging criminals to break into businesses that deal in cannabis. I am neither a user nor a suggester of using, but the fact of the matter is every state that's voted on it has made it legal, every state. And I appreciate your work, and whatever I can do to help you, I'm there.
Thank you very much, sir. So is it fair to say that you share Secretary Mnuchin's concerns and agree that the situation is untenable as it presently exists?
I think it's a real problem, and that it would be desirable to have legislation that alleviated this problem.
Thank you very much. It would be remiss if I did not address Director Young and say I really liked you more when you were on our team.
I'm still on your team.
One of my other top priorities here is addressing the opioid crisis and the problems that we've had with fentanyl. And as chairman of the Homeland Security Appropriations Committee, the southern border obviously is a grave concern for all of us regarding fentanyl. Director Young, how does the president's FY25 budget request address the fentanyl crisis and seek to change this reality? And is there some type of whole-of-government approach that this administration is working to pursue?
Mr. Joyce, I got this question from a Democrat this morning in House budget, from you here. It's one of the places that gets lost in rhetoric of the year on border. When I was here, this is one of the places where there's agreement, and I hope we can find a way to enact the parts of the president's supplemental, certainly that do deal with fentanyl. And this budget repeats those asks, $1.2 billion for DHS to stop fentanyl from entering the country. You know the NIA equipment, everyone says it works. We bought a bunch years ago. We don't have money to outfit the land ports of entry to put all of those in. We also need more equipment to put in more land ports of entry. So we have a technology that works that's not been fully implemented and utilized. And we'd love to work with anybody to help get that done.
With all due respect, something that killed this many kids in our country, and not just kids, adults as well, we should declare war on. I yield back.
Thank you. Great hearing.